How's it going, guys? Mosey Designer here. Been hunkered down in quarantine mode, but thankfully Doom Eternal is here to kick away the social distancing blues. I've been playing the game quite a bit and really enjoying it thus far, with about 8 hours clocked in of ripping and tearing the demons of hell. So Doom 2016 was awesome when it came out. It had a great soundtrack, cool looking enemies, and a really good combat loop with a glory kill system. Now the Doomslayer is back and even more pissed off than before. The first few levels of Doom Eternal do feel a little harder, even on the mode Hurt Me Plenty compared to the earlier levels of Doom 2016. This is because a few things are different, but within a short span of time, the new changes become second nature. One of the things that stands out is the hunt for ammo. It's not as plentiful in the world as standard pickups. To get ammo, you'll need to chainsaw enemies, and upon doing so, you'll get a pretty large drop of ammo from the guns in the game, just like you did in Doom 2016. But the great thing is, this time around, is the chainsaw is available from the start of the game. I think that was the same deal in 2016, but I don't remember. I have to go back and play it. But this time around, the chainsaw is available from the start of the game, and you also get the combat shotgun, which deals a pretty good amount of damage to the enemies found in the earlier levels of the game. The chainsaw requires fuel to use, but a cool thing is, if you can't find any fuel, it does recharge over a short period of time, and it can be used to cut enemies in half to get the ammo drops you need to keep the combat loop going. Additionally, you can find fuel tanks in the world to get multiple chainsaw uses on lower level enemies like the possessed zombies, imps, or demon grunts, or use the entire tank on a much larger enemy to get even a bigger drop of ammo for your arsenal. Speaking of arsenal, Doom Eternal boasts a pretty large array of classic Doom weapons and a few new tools to rip and tear the demons of hell. All of the guns in the game have different firing modes, including different weapon mods which allow for varied attacks on the enemies you will encounter in the combat spaces of the game. Some of the new additions to Doom Eternal include the flamethrower suit attachment, which is handy for setting demons on fire for a short period of time. Not only are the demons on fire in this state, but if attacked, they will drop armor shards, which will help increase your chances of survival in harder combat situations. There is also a new grenade launcher that does a significant amount of area effect damage, either as explosive damage or freeze damage. The new Ice Bomb mod allows you to lock large groups of enemies in place for crowd control in hectic situations. Getting health pickups is the same as before. Stagger a demon, and when they start to glow, go in for the glory kill. This time around, the Doomslayer also has a blade attachment on his glove, and is seen a lot in the different variations of the glory kills. With time, the loop of shooting, punching, chainsawing, and setting enemies on fire becomes an ultimate dance of destruction you will get used to pretty quickly. One of the biggest changes players will notice between Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal is the level flow. Doom 2016 for the most part was pretty linear, with some vertical elements in the gameplay spaces. Now in Doom Eternal, the levels have a lot more verticality to them. Some spaces are connected to each other via jump puzzles. I'll cover this in more depth later in a final review or in an episode of Level Design Deep Dive, but some of the jump puzzles are harder than others. Like the new weapon arsenal, player movement is different with the incorporation of a new dash mechanic, which allows the Doomslayer to move through combat spaces and jump puzzle sections pretty quickly. The more you play the game, the more accustomed you'll become to using the dash combined with jumps to get from one area to the next in the levels of Doom Eternal. Along with the dash mechanic, there are now climbing sections in the game, and the visual language of what can and cannot be climbed is clearly presented to the player, so again it makes a level traversal more interesting compared to standard corridor combat. Now, one cannot talk about Doom Eternal and forget about the music. Doom 2016 had a killer soundtrack from composer Mick, and he has returned to compose the music of Doom Eternal with a much heavier soundtrack that is perfect for the cadence and flow of the Doomslayer's brutality. At times you won't even realize it and you'll be headbanging to the crushing riffs, killing demons left and right. A lot of the tracks remind me of some of the gent and metal riffs from bands like Meshuggah, Periphery, or Gojira. There are plenty of new tracks in Doom Eternal, and some classic remixes of Doom 1 and Doom 2 songs you will hear if you're paying attention. Definitely a little heavier, but they do bring back a sense of nostalgia and you can remember which level they're from. In terms of enemy variety, Doom Eternal has a standard fare of classic Doom enemies most players know, with some new appearances and modern redesigns of enemies players have encountered in Doom 2 back in the day. Along with the classic enemies, new demons are introduced in the game, make some of the combat encounters more challenging and interesting as you juggle different enemy types with a wide array of guns and combat tools at your disposal. Overall, it's great to see more single-player focused games in the market that is saturated with either large open-world experiences or battle royales. But don't get me wrong, both those genres are fun in their own right, and I play them too, but sometimes you just want to be a badass on a power fantasy trip, tearing enemies in half with your bare hands. Doom Eternal does have a new multiplayer mode, which I've not tried yet, but once I beat the game, I'll give it a shot and have my thoughts posted on that as well. So my first impressions of Doom Eternal are that you should definitely get it. If you haven't played Doom 2016, go get that first, play it, then get Doom Eternal and play that. You won't be disappointed. Punching, chainsawing, and tearing demons in half with your bare hands is a ton of fun. Once I finish the game, I will do a more in-depth analysis, either as a full review or a level design deep dive, but until then, I have to get back to punching demons in the face. On that note, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.